Hello and welcome to our 18th session. This is day 4 hour 3 session wherein we are now going to explore about camera crane. Now actually in cinematic production, cranes and zip play a very important role, and most of the beautiful shots that you see in films are being shot with these cranes. Before we actually set up the real cranes in cinema shooting, it will be first simulated on Unreal Engine. And also in virtual film production, when we use crane on a virtual set, we want the real crane and the virtual crane of the Unreal Engine to sync with each other. So for all these reasons, using cranes in Unreal Engine in virtual film production plays a very important role. Let us first launch Epic Games Launcher, and in Epic Games Launcher library you have this camera settings file. If you go into our Patreon page link, you can download all these files, and once you have set it up, I am now going to double click to open this camera settings. It is getting launched in Unreal 5.6. Once it is launched, I will come into this message log window and I will clear the messages. Then I will close this message log, and here also I will click no. It is opening with module underscore 2. I will come into content drawer, content, int vc, maps, and in main I am now going to double click module underscore 7 to open this. I am going to come into this sequencer tab here, and I am going to choose camera rig shots root to open my. So now in this sequencer we have already worked on the 2 shots here, and also third shot also we have completed it. So if I enable this camera icon here, you can see in our previous session we completed this third shot, and then now we are going to work on the fourth shot. So I will double click this, and you can see here we are in shot 0040_01. I am going to press Ctrl and roll the mouse up to zoom in. Right now here no cameras are there. I am going to now come into my camera rigs. We have added 3 rigs already. This is in top view lit. I will change this to wireframe, and also I will change this to perspective, and now I will just zoom out, and I am now going to first decide what will be my crane shot. See here you can see that this is a house, and inside the house, if I roll the mouse, I am zooming in, zooming out, or I will just right click and press S to move back, W to move forward, press E to move up a little, and you can see in this window we have both our actors sitting there. So now what I want is, I want to start my camera crane shot. So I will be actually from here, I will move up and somewhere from here, and my camera should slowly come like this, go inside to the actor like this. So this is the shot I want to create. First I have to add my camera crane. So for that again I will come into this add icon here, click here, come into cinematic, and in this choose camera rig crane. So when I click on the camera rig crane, you can see the camera rig crane added here. So I will right click and I will press D and move here. So you can see the crane added here. I will come in the right view and I will see where my camera rig is there. So my rig is placed here. I will bring it at floor level like this. Say I will move it somewhere here. See, the rig should be here, the actors are there, and here the window is there. I will also come into the top view and I will just adjust this rig to match my actors here, so that it goes through the window to our actor. So once I place the rig correctly, I will come into the perspective view. So I will right click, press D and move around, and I will just see. So this is the rig I have placed. If it is not clearly visible, I can come to unlit and I can now see the rig correctly. So this is the camera rig, and for the rig we have to next attach our camera, and I am going to press F2 and I am going to call this as rig crane underscore 4. Right click, choose move to, and come and add it into this 8 camera rigs. So now this comes into this. So I will close rig 1, rig 2 and rig 3 as of now. I have to attach a camera for this. I will just scroll up, come into my cameras here, and I am again going to select this wide camera, and I am going to press Ctrl D to duplicate, press F2, and I am going to call this as cinecam underscore crane. Then going to right click here, choose move to, and I will send it again into the camera rigs 8 underscore camera rigs folder. So I will close this. So this is in the camera rigs folder. Now what I have to do is I have to now drag this cinecam underscore crane into my rig crane underscore 4. If I drag it on top of it, this becomes a child of this, and after I make it the child, with this selected I will come into details transform, and in location I am going to reset it to 0 here, and in rotation also I will reset it to 0. Now I am going to eject here and come out, and I am going to come to the top view, and I am going to see where my camera is placed. So I will drag and place the camera exactly at the rig like this. I will come into the right view and see that it is mounted on the rig. It is connected to the rig. I will place the camera somewhere at this point where it is fixed to my crane. I will select the crane, and to place it exactly on the floor, I am going to set this location value to 0. Before we start using this crane, we should understand exactly how this crane is going to work. I am now going to come over here, zoom out, and I am in the right side view. If you select this crane and if you come into your control, below the transform you have crane controls, and in crane controls you can see there are 3 controls: pitch, yaw, and arm length. When I select the pitch and if I rotate it, see this is going to move top. See, this is, you can see this moving to the top. See, I will just zoom out a little and show it to you. So now here, as I turn this, see now practically actually, although in Unreal I can rotate it fully like this 360 degree, practically in all crane we can shift it up to 90 degree angle here. So I can move this up to an angle of 90 degree like this, and you can now zoom out and see here, when I am moving, you see the camera, it's always placed to the front. See, the camera is not turning with the pitch. If I want the camera to turn with the pitch, I have to enable this option lock mount pitch. So when I enable this option, you can now see that when I move this, the camera is actually mounted to the pitch clearly. See, the camera is tilting exactly to the same angle as the angle of my crane pitch. I will set this back to 0. I will come here and I will come into the top view. I will just zoom out, and now you can see yaw means when I rotate it, it is going to rotate horizontally. See, I can move this horizontal. Even in this case, when I am moving this horizontally, I will just zoom in and show it to you. See, the camera is not turning with the yaw. See, it is not turning with the crane. See, it is always focused on one side. If you want the camera also to turn along with it, if I say lock mount yaw, and if I now rotate it, you can now see the camera is turning along with the crane like this. See, it is moving with this like this. We understood pitch and yaw, and the third factor here is the arm length. Now, if I set this also to 0, now say for example here in this chart, I want this arm to come inside. I want to move this arm, means this is set to 500 centimeter. So this is approximately 5 meters. But if I select this and if I increase the length, you can see my camera will move through and move up. See, you can move this, and this is the third control that we have in this crane. I will set the arm length also back to 500. Inside the rig crane, you have 2 components. One is the transform component, and another is the crane yaw control. Now, if I come into the crane yaw control, if I come into the right view and if I show it to you, see the crane or the camera is actually little down. I have to move this camera to the top. So, how can I move it is, I can increase this height. So, to increase this height, if you come into camera yaw control and you have this location of the yaw here, and if I move this, you can see now this entire unit moves to the top. See, I can move this. I cannot disconnect, I shouldn't disconnect it, it will not be proper. So, I can move it till this position, till around 140, or I can move it till here. So, I can control this distance or this variation over here. We totally understood there are 4 controls now. In retract central, you have pitch, yaw and arm length, and in crane yaw control, you have the location. Now, let us start animating this crane. I am going to select this rig crane underscore 4, drag it and put it into my sequence. So, here I will open cameras and you have one folder called crane already created here. I will drag this and put it inside the crane folder. Then I am also going to select this cine camera crane. I will drag this and put it into this crane folder, and only thing is I will close this and I will move this rig crane above the cine camera. I will just off this and on it once to adjust the lighting. In our scene, if I come into the perspective view, now I want my camera to start somewhere here, show the room, and at halfway mark it should come here, and remaining halfway it should go inside. In my timeline of 10 seconds, I will come to the point 5 seconds here, and at 5 seconds come into my rig crane 4. For crane pitch, I will add a keyframe. Crane yaw also I will add a keyframe. Crane arm length also I will add a keyframe. And I will come into crane yaw control also, and here also in the location I will add a keyframe. At 10 seconds, what I want this to do is, I want this to move inside. So, I will come back to my rig crane 4 here, and I am going to only increase the arm length. So, I will come here and I will enable this cinema crane once again here to see the view here. Now, I will increase this, and as I move it, I will come into this view and press G to hide everything. Now, I can see it clearly. Now, I will select rig crane 4 again, and I am going to move this arm length like this. So, it comes till here, and as it is coming, I also want to slightly turn this around -5 degree, okay, and I will slightly move it back. So, this should be my final position, and so I will move it by around 1130 here. I am again going to add for crane pitch, yaw, arm length, and also for yaw control I am going to add the keyframe. And now, once I have added the keyframe, between 5 second and 10 second you can see my crane is moving into the subject like this. Between 5 and 0 second, what I want is, at 0 second, if I move this and come to 0 second, at 0 second, to see this better, I will eject and come into the perspective view, and I will show you how this is going to work. Again, press G to see the crane. So, now I will just turn, and I will middle mouse click and turn here, crane instant setting, and here along the yaw I am going to turn it in this angle here like this, okay, and I am going to change the pitch to top like this. So, now what has happened is, the camera has turned somewhere on the other side, okay. So, you can see the camera is now focused to some point. I will just select the camera and show it to you. I will press F. See, the camera, I want it to focus to my object. So now I have to rotate the camera and I have to do the animation also. I want this camera, irrespective of its position, to always keep seeing at our two actors. I will again come into the plus icon here, come into basic, and now I am going to add another new actor, and I am going to press F2 and I am going to call this actor as crane cam underscore tracker, and I am going to move this into my camera rigs folder. Either if it is not moving directly here, I am not able to move, or I can right click, come into move to and go into my 8 camera rigs. So it came into the camera rigs here. You have it here, crane camera tracker. It is somewhere here. I will now come into my top view and I am going to drag this and bring it at the center of my two characters here. Okay, I will bring it here, and also in the right hand side view I am going to drag this and pull it down to the table, so that this is exactly at the table level here. I am next going to come over here to the cine camera, and you have one option, look at tracking setting. I will open this and I will enable look at tracking, and then in actor to track I am now going to select this crane cam tracker, and now if I enable this camera over here, you can now see that the camera is now turned towards this house. So I will now again come into my rig. As I turn the yaw, see, I am just moving this along the yaw and also pitch. See, the problem is it is not moving correctly because I have enabled lock mount pitch and lock yaw. I will just set this both to again 0 and I am going to off this, and then I am now going to control this. I will now come here, and if I move the pitch, see, the camera is going up. So to observe this, I will eject here, come into perspective view, and I will show it to you. So you can see how this is moving. Okay, so I will just use unlit here, and I am going to come here, zoom in, and I will just show you. See, it is in this position. I will just move this side, press D, and I will come here, press S and move back. So you can see here how my camera is moving. Okay, so this is the position. I am lifting it like this. So as I am lifting, it is moving like this, and then I am also going to move it on the yaw. That is, I am going to rotate this yaw on the other side here, and also see, I will just move it at some angle like this, and with these two just settings I am not able to get it from this entire view from the side view. I will first come into my cine crane and I will move down here, and in the settings I am going to set its focal length from 40 mm to around 20 mm. I will make it a little wider, and also now I will now select my rig crane 4 and I will come into my 5-second frame, and at 5 second I am also going to add a keyframe here for its position, and I will come to frame number 0, and at 0 I will slightly move this along here like this, and if required I will come into the top view so that you can see correctly. So now in this view I will right click, come here. So where is my camera? The crane is okay, it has gone inside rig crane 4. So it is here, you can see the rig crane. I am just going to move it slightly like this. Okay, at this position I will bring it, and then I will move this to the top. I will yaw is fine, I will keep it at 0 only, and I will move pitch and move it to the top like this, and if required, see now this will be my initial position. So, I will set the pitch, I will add a keyframe and it has changed the position. I will slightly adjust this like this, okay. And also I will set yaw keyframe, arm length keyframe and location keyframe. So, I have added all the 4 keyframe and I am going to adjust the pitch like this, and I am then going to adjust, see the position, it has moved back. I will move here and in the position I will add a keyframe like this, okay. So, this is my initial frame, and if I now enable my cine camera frame, and if I come into lit, this is the initial frame, and when I play it, you can see the crane comes like this, you see both, and it slowly moves in to my character like this, okay. So, now because we made it wide, I will come to 10 seconds here, I will click here, press G to hide everything, I will select my rig crane 4 and I will increase my arm length a little more because it has become wide. I will slightly increase it, and also I will set the yaw position in or -9, okay. So, it is now to the center. So, I will add a keyframe for this, I will add a keyframe for arm length and pitch same 0, I will leave it as it is. So, now if I rewind and if I play this, you can see this comes like this, moves here and it is going to go inside and we are going to get this crane shot, okay. So, there is still one issue, I will jump to this 10-second frame, and in this actually the crane length has become short. I will slightly move it more, okay, and I will add a keyframe, and this one I will set it to -8 and move it a little like this and add a keyframe. So, this is fine. So, now I will rewind it and I am going to play it, and you can now see this comes here, you have this long view and it slowly goes inside and you can see both the characters there. So, I will stop the playback now and I will come here and I am going to save this sequence. It is asking to save all the shots. I will click save selected. Now, I will come to the top here and I am going to first come here to frame number 0, and at frame number 0 in camera cuts, I will click on the plus, come in this sequence and I am going to select my cine cam crane, and once I select this, I am going to enable this, and now our shot is enabled. So, with this done, I will now come back to camera rig shots root, and now here I am going to save this, and it is asking me to save the relevant sequences. So, I will click save selected. Then here you can see that this animation is running. So, now if I rewind and play it, see this was the first animation we created using the regular cinema rig rail. This was about 10 seconds. Then in the second one, we used the same rail and we made the camera move vertically and we created this kind of effect. And in the third, we used the new cinema rig rail and we made it to move circularly like this, controlling it at every spline. Then in the fourth, we used the camera crane and we created this effect of the camera movement. So, with this I will stop the playback, I will come back to file and choose save all. So, with this we are going to conclude this session, and in this session we have discussed about the camera cranes, and in our next session we are going to discuss about camera shakes and also lookout table. For that, let us meet in the next session.